This is the Jerry Callahan Show.
All right, somewhere in Uvalde, Texas, 60 miles from the border, a big fat load is rolling out of bed, probably heading to work, heading to his job, putting on his uniform first, his badge, and then heading to work. I'm sure he's stopping at Dunkin' Donuts for half a dozen Boston creams and maybe a large coffee, 6 creams, 12 sugars, heading to work. He'll go to his office. He'll see what he's got going on today. Maybe he'll have some interview requests. He'll turn them all down. He'll probably check, his account to make sure the check's cleared because he's double dipping now. Later on today, he'll be at the city council meeting because he's a city councilor and a police chief as of this moment. And 19 kids are still dead. 2 teachers are still dead. The the face of utter abject cowardice, Pete Arredondo, is still working. He's still free. He's still acting as if he is didn't allow these children to die. It is the most infuriating story I can remember. We got plenty of infuriating stories today. We got the latest from the U.S. Navy, what they're doing with their forces, while China is introducing its new amphibious aircraft carrier. We'll get to that. We got Joe Biden hanging on the beach in the middle of, I can't remember a time when we've had more crises. We're not at war just yet. He's trying to get us there. He's trying to escalate things in Ukraine. So we will be involved there soon enough. But we got inflation. We got gas prices. We got an open southern border. We got crime rampant in cities. And our part-time president is taking pictures with little girls on the beach. It was a Monday. It wasn't a Saturday. It wasn't a Sunday. I know it was a holiday, Juneteenth, but I don't know. It feels like time you'd want your president to be in the Oval Office working. So Pete Arredondo's working. Joe Biden is not. Big news from the golf world. I feel like we do this every day. We tell you about a new mercenary jumping to the Live Tour. Big news today. Brooks Koepka, 4-time major winner, is going to be at Pumpkin Ridge in Portland next week, playing on the Live Tour. We're still working to find out the number. They money whipped him. And another big name, another major winner, has 1 foot out the door. And we think, and this guy's a young stud, this guy's heading to the Live Tour. That should be interesting. We'll all be clicking on our YouTube links next week to watch a commercial-free, watch the second Live event. What else we got? Oh, Bill Maher, my man Bill Maher. I didn't get to this yesterday. We'll get it today. Bill Maher, as only he can, defending Jack Del Rio. I'm telling you, I'm starting to lean towards the Ron DeSantis Bill Maher ticket in 2024. I'm he's got me fooled. I feel like he's been what's the term? Red pilled. I feel like he's come around and he's become kind of like a spokesman for people who are waking up to the woke insanity in America. Every Friday night, Bill Maher just comes up with another great monologue. He had a couple last Friday. We'll play you some of the Bill Maher riff on Jack Del Rio. Man, we got a lot to get to, and we will try to get to all of it. We have some good Donald Trump sound too, because he's working. He's out there politicking and campaigning while Joe Biden is taking pictures with little girls and getting a little sniff of their hair on the beach in Delaware as America burns. We'll get to all that on today's Callahan Show. But first, oh man, we got so much to get to. I'll just give you the name. We'll get to the Live golf story. I feel like we've done so much of that. But Brooks Koepka's heading to the Live, 4-time major winner, 8-time winner. We'll explain to you why Brooks is bailing and why it makes all the sense in the world. And the other guy, according to Adam Schefter, Colin Morikawa, a 2-time major winner, I think Both of them came during COVID, so no one noticed. But he won 2 majors, and he's a young stud, great player. Apparently, they made him an offer he couldn't turn down too, so he's bailing. That's not good for the PGA Tour. When you lose Phil Mickelson or even, Dustin Johnson, even Brooks Koepka, who's in his 30s, that's one thing. Losing Colin Morikawa, that hurts. But we'll see if we can get the numbers, the total, the money they threw at him. But I got to do this Uvalde story first because it is just so infuriating. I don't understand. I believe the murders, the killing, the shooting took place May 24th. That's a month. And the coward in charge, none of the cops, as far as I know, have been fired. None has been arrested. And the chief who ordered them to stand down, and trust me, I blame the cops too. I've been tweeting about this, and I know a lot of people say, what were they supposed to do? They were told to wait. They were told not to do anything. I don't care. They know what was happening in that room. There they are. We're looking at a photo of these bums outside the classroom, fully armed. I mean, they have, what are we saying here, Ironhead? M4s?
Yeah, basically.
M4s.
M4s.
Long guns, shields, AR-15s. At least one of them has a helmet on. They have vests. So if you're keeping a list of lies told by the Uvalde PD and the chief, Pete Arredondo, there's a whole bunch right there. They said they were waiting for shields. They had shields. Waiting for weapons, long guns. They had those. They knew what was happening. And if you want to just try to put it in some kind of perspective, just consider this, 58 minutes. Next time you do something that lasts an hour, watch a TV show that lasts an hour or go for a jog or for 1 hour. They waited 1 hour before going in there. They weren't locked out. They didn't even try to open the door. We're not sure yet whether the door was locked or not. I suspect it was not, but they didn't even turn the knob. They had equipment there to bust that door down if they wanted to. They chose not to. They stood out there and listened as children were slaughtered for 58 minutes. They were in the school, I believe it was 9 minutes after Ramos entered the school through a door that was supposed to be locked. 9 minutes. And here's the part, here's why they're cowards, they're liars. Is because they knew he didn't have hostages. They knew it was a school shooter. They knew kids were dead. They were told that on 911 calls. They knew what was happening. They trained extensively for this. Every cop knows you do this. You have school shooting drills. And when there's kids in a classroom with the shooter and you hear gunfire, those aren't warning shots. He's not doing target practice. He's killing kids. And these cowards stood out in the hallway for almost an hour, waiting for what? Waiting for him to finish the job? When they entered the room, by the way, they killed him instantly. They were ready. They were loaded. They were protected. They had their shields. They had the manpower. At one point, I think the total was 9 cops in the hallway outside the door of the classroom where he was shooting kids. So the parents of the 19 kids, every one of them, is going to wonder, would my child have survived if these cops just did their job? The reason they're such a disgrace is because this is what they signed up for. When you sign up to be a cop, you agree that you'll put your life on the line. That's the deal. Your life, you might lose your life. That's the job. In this case, they didn't, none of them did. The Texas Border Patrol guy got a little graze, the hero that defied the chief. But one of the cops says on this, according to reports, there's all kinds of stories. It's breaking. It's new. It's debunking everything they told us. They were ready to go in. They could have gone in. They could have killed him 1 hour, 58 minutes earlier than they did. They chose not to because they're a bunch of cowards. The worst kind of cowards. Here's what they should do. First of all, Arredondo must be arrested, handcuffed, perp walked out of the police station, out of the city council meeting, into a cruiser, into a state police cruiser, and charged, booked. He has to do hard time. This is, negligence at best. I mean, this is manslaughter. I don't understand how he's not at least off the job. I mean, he'll do less time than the Q. I know I say this about everybody, but he'll do less time than the QAnon shaman, the Viking man who walked in the Capitol, howled like a moon with his face painted, hurt no one, broke nothing. He's doing 4 years. This bum, this bloated slob, this hack, Arredondo will do less time than the QAnon shaman, Jacob Chansley. But one cop says to another cop, if I can have this right, he said, if there's kids in there, we need to go in there. And the other cop says, who's ever in charge determines that. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter who's in charge. You know exactly what's happening. You don't wait. You don't wait for for the green light in every situation. I mean, you don't wait when you're I mean, we talked about that cop in Grand Rapids who shot the suspect in the back of the head because he stole his taser. He didn't wait for a green light from the chief. He just did his job. I mean, he might go to prison for it, but they know exactly what's happening. They know kids are dying, and they wait for this bum to give them the go-ahead. That doesn't make any sense. You don't need an order to go in and save children from a mass shooter. And by the way, you know how this is going to get worse? It's going to get worse. We're going to find out some of these cops got their own kids out and then loitered in the hallway or outside the school and wondered, gee, you think he'll run out of bullets eventually? Do you think he'll run out of kids to kill? Texter here, Mark says, Robert says he probably killed himself. Good point. You know why? Because they've lied about everything. They've lied about everything so far. Why aren't they lying about that? Maybe that's when they went in the room, when he killed himself and there was no more gunshots, no more gunfire. If that's the case, these guys are even more disgusting than we previously thought. They did nothing, literally nothing. If he shot himself, if the Texas Border Patrol guy did the job, it's just as bad. That means they stood down while some guy who was getting a haircut a couple of miles away grabbed a shotgun and went in there to stop the shooter. And by the way, what if he was all done? What if there were no more kids? Who cares at that point? Who cares if you shot him? Your job was to save children. I hope every one of these pussies, I hope every one of them has nightmares. I hope every one of them hears the screams. Can you imagine that's what they heard? Screams of 8, 9, 10-year-old children dying, or worse yet, getting ready to die, screaming for their mothers or fathers or the police to come save them. And these bums did nothing for 58 minutes. You want to get even more pissed off? The report says Arredondo was looking for the keys. Looking for the keys? You have all this firepower, taxpayer-funded firepower. You have these weapons of war, your M4s and your AR-15s, limitless rounds, and you have shields. They're holding the shields in the video, in the photographs. They have the shields. They have helmets. They have vests. They're ready to go, and they hang out for almost an hour. I'm totally baffled by this. I don't understand at all why the state police, why some federal bureau, some federal authority hasn't stepped in, taken away, speaking of keys, taken away his keys to the office, his keys to his cruiser, and then gone down the line and said which other cops failed to save those children. They should fire every single one. It's not, you don't have a constitutional right to this job. You're done. You can go whatever, work at Amazon. You can't work here anymore. We're going to hire an entirely new staff. Those guys will try to repair some of the damage, but when we think of cops who drop the ball, who fail, who cower, who are cowards, we're always going to think of the Uvalde PD, and we should. I mean, they're a disgrace to the badge. They're a disgrace to the profession. The parents. I mean, the parents are going to live with this forever, and they're always going to wonder, what if the cops just did their jobs? I'm I'm reading from the report in the New York Post, which kind of compiles these stories in the Austin American Statesman and local TV station KVEU. They point out that the officers were armed with rifles and ballistic shields were inside. They came into the school, this says 19 minutes after the gunman, and then waited an hour. That's right. That adds up to whatever we said earlier, 77 minutes. They waited to breach the classroom where the shooter carried out his deadly rampage. It doesn't say, I guess we don't know if, when every child died, when the last child died. Who was the last child to die because of these cowards? Surveillance footage showed the armed officers standing inside the hallway at 11:52 after Salvatore Ramos broke into the school at 11:33 through an exterior door that failed to automatically lock. I mean, honest to God, we're going to sit there and talk about whatever the red flag laws and raising the age for AR-15s and every other background checks when these when these simple measures, shutting the door, I don't know, that to me would be my first suggestion. How about you shut the door? The newly reported accounts contradicts earlier reports that Uvalde School District Police Chief Pete Arredondo, who was in charge of the police response, was waiting for tactical gear and a protective shield to move in on the gunman. That's the maddening part. Not only is this guy a coward, but he's a liar. And we believe him. I feel like a fool. I took this, I said this, I talked about this, I tweeted about this, saying they were waiting for, remember they said they were waiting for snipers, shields, and more weapons. They had everything they needed except the guts, except the heart, the balls to go in there and save kids. I guess we'll just wait another month, 2 months, 3 months, wait for more footage, wait for more video and photographs. After attempting to talk with Ramos, talk with a school shooter, Arredondo tells SWAT officers who arrived that they should breach the classroom door as soon as they were ready at 12:46. They finally busted into the room 4 minutes later and shot and killed Ramos. That's up for that's up for debate. I don't know if they actually breached the room. I don't know if they actually killed him. We'll find out. Based on footage from the incident and Arredondo's own testimony, it's believed that some of the delay was based on his attempts to find keys to unlock the door, though it was unclear if it was locked at all. What? Police did not even check or try to open the door, despite having access to a Halligan tool, which could have broken the lock, according to the San Antonio Express News. Arredondo tried dozens of keys, but told officers to wait for a tactical team. My God. As, just try to picture this big, fat slob trying like keys, like nervously. Which key? We don't know if the door was locked. We do know that the cops could hear gunfire. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm just going to assume that every one of those shots was fired at a student or a teacher. And this bum was looking for a key. I mean, obviously, he's a fool and a failure and a coward and a clown. He's still the chief. He's still on the city council in the city of Uvalde. How do they, parents, I know how they feel. The parents, obviously, they're still grieving. It's obviously the worst nightmare of every parent. But how do you feel knowing that this fool was in charge of protecting and saving your child, and he's still, he's going to get away with this? I don't know why. I don't know. He's going to get away with it. He might lose his job, but he'll get his pension, and he'll still be able to have his cream-filled donuts every morning and his coffee and have dinner every night and watch TV and live his life. While all these children hadn't even reached puberty. These children were in elementary school, and they're dead. Some of them because of this clown. Is this, are we looking at one of the parents? Because listening to these people is just heartbreaking. Listening to them knowing they lost a little child and because some idiot didn't lock the door and some other idiot didn't have the guts to go in and save them. What's this guy's name?
This is Brett Cross.
Brett Cross is a parent of a victim.
Yes.
Let's listen to Mr. Cross's reaction to the latest reports out of Uvalde.
I want him to step down. I want him to be a man and make the right decision. He needs to step down from city council. He needs to step down from the school district.
Sorry.
That calm.
Sorry, Mr. Cross. Sorry. He is not stepping down. I mean, you know what? He doesn't even have the guts to make a statement. Doesn't even have the guts to say, I'm sorry. You know, I thought he was holding hostages. I was wrong. Doesn't even have the guts. I mean, we saw the CNN reporter, and CNN has done some journalism for a change on this. We saw them chase him into the back of the police department. He goes in the back door, and he said, I'm not going to have anything to say. And I mean, you are just a pathetic piece of garbage, this Arredondo, just a pathetic piece of filth. How is he not required to look into the eyes of Mr. Cross and say, I'm sorry, I screwed up. You know, I'm done. I resign. I resign from the city council. I resign from the police department. But I'm not letting. I know a lot of people, a lot of commenters and tweeters have say, no, the cops. What are we supposed to do? They're supposed to follow orders. No. You know it's a school shooting. You've been trained for school shootings. You know there's no hostages. You know he's in the process of executing 8-year-olds. I don't care. You know your boss is a clown. You know he's just a big fat hack. You're not listening to him. I got an idea. How about you see if the door's open? How about one of you cowards with the shields and the vests and the helmets and the M4s? How about one of you turns the knob to see if the door's open? Is that asking too much? You clowns, you sign up for what? You sign up so you can, drive fast and carry a gun, and maybe, after your shift is over, you stop at the diner and maybe some of the chicks are impressed by your uniform. Is that why you signed up? You signed up for all the wrong reasons. You signed up for this. I think obviously if they could do it all over again, they would do it differently. But going in there and taking a chance that this 18-year-old psycho might shoot you and kill you, that's a chance you have to take. If you did that and, I don't know, you got shot and wounded or whatever, you could at least live with yourself. You have to live with yourself now, knowing you let kids die. And you know what? It's going to get worse. We're going to get more footage. We're going to get more firsthand accounts. We're going to hear more. Arredondo hopefully is going to be charged, tried, convicted. Hopefully many of these cops, what if they were at any dignity, if they were men, they'd quit today and move to New Zealand and just say, I'm sorry, I can never show my face in Uvalde again. But if you haven't seen the footage, the video, the photographs, it's disgusting. You want to talk about weapons of war? They had all that. I didn't even know that local police forces had this kind of firepower. But every one of them has a long rifle. One of them seems to have like a shotgun or something too. They had everything they needed.
A lot of them, at least around here, the cops I know, they'll have M4s, almost where like the spare tire would be in the back of the SUVs.
Right.
Folded up. It's like riot gear.
It's not automatic though. It's semi-automatic, correct?
That I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's semi.
So even so, there were so many of them. There were 9 of them at one point. In the photograph, there's 4 or 5 of them. But hell, one guy defies the chief, opens the door, shoots Ramos, or dies trying. He's a hero. Instead, they're all cowards, the whole force. I don't know the number of cops on the force, 56. I forget the number. Every one of them is a coward because they didn't defy that slob of a chief. And now 19 kids are dead. And, the kids who aren't dead are horrified. They're all probably having nightmares. 2 teachers. Keep forgetting to mention the teachers. I'm not sure when they died, but maybe they could have been saved too. But no. There's no men on that staff, on that police force, just a bunch of cowards. But all right, I'm done with that for the moment. I had to get that off my chest. I can't handle this story. I watch it, I read it, and I just lose my mind. I just have to stop and catch my breath. It's so infuriating. I didn't have a kid in there. Mr. Cross and the rest of the parents, how do they live? No, how do they live in that town? They drive by the cops. They see these slugs that let their children die. It must be brutal. But all right, let's get to a few more things. that are not quite as infuriating, but they're close. I want to get to this. I want to get to Biden on the beach because he said the quiet part out loud on the beach when he talked about, the pain at the pump, as we've been telling you all along. It's intentional. The pain is the point. Biden let the cat out of the bag yesterday. We have to, if you're not worried enough about the direction of the country, of the state of the country, of the state of things, there was a video that broke yesterday. It is a tutorial. A couple of wokesters did a, I don't know what you'd call it, a lesson plan, a instructional video for the Navy, for the U.S. Navy. We talked about what you sign up for when you sign up for the police department. Well, it's sort of like that when you sign up for the Navy. As the great Rush Limbaugh always said, the military's job is two things: to kill people and break things. To blow up buildings and kill people, to drop bombs, to win wars. That's job number one. I mean, I realize in recent times, like in Afghanistan, they were busy building schools and water treatment plants or what. I don't know why the mission became went sideways like that, but it sometimes does. And now the Navy, and as well as the Army, the whole military, has been wokeified. It is scary, the rot within the military. I hope President DeSantis can put the stop on this and jam it in reverse and fix this mess. But you watch this and you wonder, what's the end result? The end result is a woke military with diversity and pride flags and celebrating diversity, plenty of gay and lesbian and transgender soldiers and Marines. The Navy, I'm pretty sure the Navy SEALs are in the Navy, correct? I'm just guessing. The Navy SEALs are in the Navy. So
I do believe so, yes.
The Navy SEAL, that name, the Navy SEALs, our friend Robert O'Neill, if he were still in the man who killed bin Laden, if he were still in the Navy, he would be told, okay, here's your schedule for today before we go out and maneuvers and, shoot guns, and before we have to, crawl through swamps and deserts and prepare for war, or before we go in and, kill the next ISIS leader. You guys need to come in the classroom. We have a little tutorial for you about pronouns. Pronouns. First of all, this whole pronoun thing is madness anyway, even if it's in a private, if it's some crazy left-wing college at Tufts or Wesleyan or Harvard, it's nuts. Why is the Navy having to learn about pronouns by two wokesters in rainbow clothes? But just keep this in mind. The people are directed to are young studs like these guys.
This is Jocko Willink and Leaf Babbitt. I can't imagine them going, I'm him.
Two stud killers, warriors, the best of the best. These are why we are still, I hope, the number one superpower, because of studs like this. Well, part of their day, again, they're going to get up and they're going to, shoot guns and run and with their boots on. They're going to work out. They're going to prepare for war like they always do. But also, they're going to learn about pronouns. Listen to this. And again, not directed at elementary school kids. That's bad enough. Directed at Navy SEALs. Go ahead and play this.
Hi, my name is Johnny and I use he, him pronouns.
Hi, and I'm Kanchi and I use she, her pronouns.
And we're here to talk about pronouns.
What is a pronoun?
Roger that.
Pronoun is how we identify ourselves apart from our name, and it's also how people refer to us in conversations.
Using the right pronouns is a really simple way to affirm someone's identity. It is a signal of acceptance and respect.
If it's a signal of acceptance and respect, how do we go about creating a safe space for everybody?
That's a good question. A really good way to do that is to use inclusive language. Instead of saying something like, hey guys, you can say, hey everyone, or hey team.
Yeah, and now that you say that, another way that we could show that we're allies and that we accept everybody is to maybe include our pronouns in our emails.
Can you breach a door?
Or, like we just did, introduce ourselves using our pronouns.
But what would I do if I misgender someone?
I think the first thing to recognize is that it's not the end of the world. You correct yourself and move on, or you accept the correction and move on.
Okay. I don't think this goes on. I don't think I could take much more. I really can't. This is for the military. Jocko Willink is supposed to listen to this and say, we are creating safe spaces. I thought the military was supposed to do just the opposite, create unsafe spaces. I thought that was their job. God, can we just leave the military alone? I know they've infiltrated every institution. I know academia is gone, lost. I know Hollywood is hopeless. I understand big tech, the big media, they're gone. They all have their pronouns in their bios. They all have their, Ukraine flags, or now their rainbow flags. I know we're all celebrating Pride Month, but the military has to listen to them say, I think there's a lot of things that you want to learn if you're in the military, a lot of important things. You're going to learn you're not supposed to say, hey, guys. Hey, guys. That's inappropriate. Hey, guys. Because it's not inclusive enough. Oh, God, I'm telling you. I know it sounds like hyperbole, and I generally don't want to give up on the military, but and Jesse Kelly says this all the time and tweets this, we're going to lose a major war. And he was a Marine. We're going to lose a major war. There are two things happening right now, and all on the direction of the lunatics who are running our country, the Biden regime. One is they're still kicking guys out for not getting vaccinated. They've kicked out, and you can look up the numbers. I did the numbers a couple months ago, and there were like 2,000 Marines. And there's fewer in the other branches, but 2,000 Marines. These are killers. These are frontline guys, grunts. Marines die. That's what they do. To quote Ermy, why do I get his name wrong all the time?
R. Lee Ermey.
Yeah, say that again.
R. Lee Ermey.
R. Lee Ermey. Marines die. It's what they do. They also keep heaven packed with fresh souls. That's what they do. These same people, by the way, the Marines are part of the Navy too. These same people are being told we don't want to create we must create safe spaces. We must respect people's pronouns. I just think of the average 20-year-old kid from Alabama, shaved head, tattoo, gun in hand, ready to fight for freedom, fight for liberty, fight for America. And he has to sit and take notes from these two in their rainbow clothes saying, you can't say, hey, guys, because it's not inclusive enough. We just played, how long was that, 30 seconds?
Yeah, it's 4
We're going
minutes.
to listen to these two clowns for an hour saying you can't say, hey, guys, you must respect people's pronouns. And what we want to do is create a safe space in the military.
Imagine taking fire and going, guys, get down. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah, I mean, everyone, look, guys, everyone.
They, them. I need you to get below that wall.
Hey, you over there. No, it's they. I'm they. Okay, they go over there. And then a bunch of guys go, I didn't mean they. This is so stupid and so silly and so wrong. It's dangerous. It is dangerous. We've changed the priorities of the military. I want you to throw up that John Cardillo tweet from this morning. Lots of people have done this. Again, people say this. I say it. We're going to lose a major war. If this is the direction, if this is the culture in the military, and it is, and they're kicking out some of our best soldiers because they won't get an unnecessary vaccine, and we're bringing in these two clowns, the taxpayers are paying these two clowns to talk about pronouns. But here's a tweet from this morning. It says the Chinese introduce their first indigenous aircraft carrier. I mean, indigenous. Yeah, indigenous. I thought it was anyway, there's a picture of this modern, there it is, zooming in on this modern aircraft carrier. China's budget's like a third, military budget's like a third of ours, but they have their priorities straight, Do you think China, and not just China, you think Russia, just any other country, hostile or otherwise, Iran, do you think these countries give a damn about pronouns? Transgender policy, there it is, juxtaposed. Our Navy, while they're introducing their new aircraft carriers, our Navy is spelling out new transgender policies. I mean, it was, when I was a kid, everyone watched MASH. MASH had a star, Klinger, Jamie, whatever his name was, from Toledo. the character. He pretended to be a woman because he wanted Section 8 or whatever they called it, Section something. He wanted out of the military, so he pretended to be a woman because they assume he was mentally ill and he'd get to go home. So that was the joke. Now we're crafting policy to make sure there's a safe space for transgender soldiers and Marines. And it just seems so absurd. Can we just leave the military? I guess I got my answer. No. They're not happy. They want to control everything. They want to infiltrate, infect, poison everything, including the US military. It's madness. It's another reason we need a red wave in November, and we need another one in 2024, because someone has to put the brakes on this madness. I hope it's the great Ron DeSantis, because he understands the fight. He understands what it's about. Again, I love Trump, but Trump's thinking about 2020 and thinking about his own situation and settling all the scores with the people who screwed him. Although I'll give him credit, he's still pretty funny. We have Trump talking about Biden riding a bike. Oh, we have Trump talking about transgender policies. I don't think it was. I think it was about the ruling which will stop Leah Thomas from beating up on the girls at the Olympics. I don't think it's about military transgender policies, but Trump was pretty good on the stump on this the other day, and talking about Biden's big falling off his bike. Trump talked about that too. Let's listen to Donald J.
I hope he has recovered, because as you know, he fell off his bicycle today. No, I'm serious. I hope he's okay. Fell off a bicycle. I make this pledge to you today. I will never, ever ride a bicycle.
You know what? That's what he has to do. Stand up. Just go out there and give speeches, rallies, and then support your governor, Ron DeSantis, who's 33 years younger than Trump and smarter and has his priorities straight. I still want Trump. I still like the loose cannon out there. I still like him calling out the woke media and everything. I just don't want to talk about whatever 2020. I don't want to talk about January 6th for the rest of my life. I guess I have to. We can get to that. We get to Stephen Colbert trying to rationalize, justify sending his staff in on an attempted coup at the Capitol, and everybody just mocking the hell out of them. But I guess it worked. Colbert's relevant for a day. But do we have that other Trump cut on transgender policies?
Sure do. He was on fire yesterday. It was like old school.
I think it's fine to talk. I think it's ridiculous. I think it actually hurts women. It demeans women. But this beautiful young woman is a swimmer. She's a champion swimmer, and she wants to break the world record. And she was going to try and do it by, I think, an eighth of a second. She was ready, and she was great. And she's getting ready. She's up, and she's looking, seeing people she's been competing with all her life. Looks left, looks right. Then she sees this person next. Holy man. This guy had a wingspan. Did you see the guy? He was like this. It was the longest human being. Like this. Arms that went down to the floor. But did you see the look? He's looking. She a hoe. You know what she said?
Here it is.
She saw him to herself, but I won't say this because I don't want to get it on camera. She looked at him. She said, "Holy shit, I'm in trouble."
That's what we need. That's what we need. Just go out, do stand up, support DeSantis, call out the media, call out the transgender madness. That should be his job. We don't need him in the White House. I mean, hang out in the White House all he wants. We just we need DeSantis to do the hard work.
He might be the funniest comic in the country right now.
Yeah, and he's fearless. I mean, he's calling Leah Thomas a guy. I mean, there's not many politicians who do that.
Well, he's just
by the way,
he's like, wow, largest person I've ever seen, arms down to the floor.
The funny thing is, he's funny and he's topical, but he's not really well informed. I don't think he probably even knows Leah Thomas's name. He just knows this is a big issue. I don't think a lot of people, they don't want to talk about this. We did, and we will. But the biggest problem, the reason Leah Thomas is such a bully and a punk is that he was naked in the locker room and he flaunted it. I mean, one of his teammates talked about it anonymously and like shrouded in secrecy and talked about you had 18-year-old girls, freshman, sophomore, and they're looking at this long, tall guy just swinging it around the locker room. He liked to make other people uncomfortable with his privilege. He liked that. That's what he got off on that. I mean, I hope he didn't actually get off on it, but he really did revel in the fact that he made all the girls uncomfortable. That's why he's such a punk. But we don't have to get back into Leah. By the way, she's gone. He's gone. He's done. We're done. He's been banned. He can't go and beat up on the girls. He could go race against the guys again and be ranked like 900th in the world, but he won't do that because what fun would that doesn't make him happy. Only beating girls makes him happy. All right. Speaking of girls, let's get to this Biden story. Let's get to our second spot, and then we'll get to the Biden story, and we'll give you the latest on the live plucking stars away from the PGA Tour, and Bill Maher, my man Bill Maher on Jack Del Rio. But first, all right, Joe Biden, our part-time president, was on the beach yesterday in Rehoboth, Delaware. I guess this was again an optic to make him appear, like he didn't get hurt falling off his bike and that he's not old and feeble. So he's walking on the beach with his baseball cap and his T-shirt and his bathing suit, taking selfies with little girls. Kind of creepy, but that's the way he is. And he does a quick, I don't know, planned little Q&A. No real interview, of course. In fact, I mentioned this yesterday. He says, I'm on vacation. And like, you are not. You're just taking a long weekend. It's not vacation. But anyway, he doesn't think he should have to answer questions. He got mad when someone asked about, I don't know, tariffs on China goods. He's accusing him of whatever, being a Republican politician. It was just stupid. But here he is talking about, the big opportunity we have here to go green. Is that the cut we have? Because this should wake everybody up. He's not really good at keeping this under wraps. Obviously, that's the plan all along. Drive gas prices up, inflation fine. This is the Green New Deal by fiat. We're going to force it on you, whether you want it or not. We're going to force you to get an electric car, give up your gas-powered car. We're going to force you to drive less, use less fuel. We're going to force the oil companies out of business. They can't admit it, but they do kind of beat around the edges. And again, he's not smart enough to be subtle about this. He just isn't. He says it, and at some point in the next 2 years, I think everybody has to understand that. I think people are slowly coming around. They have to understand that he has no interest in bringing down the price of gas. He wants it up there. He wants it to hurt. The pain is the point. But let's listen to what our part-time president had to say on the beach yesterday.
My dear mother used to have an expression, if everything lousy, something good will happen if you look hard enough for it. Mm-hmm. We have a chance here to make a fundamental turn toward renewable energy, electric vehicles, and not just electric vehicles, but across the board. And that's something we should be. My team is going to be sitting down with the CEOs of the major oil companies this week and try to get an explanation how they justify making $35 billion in the first quarter.
Are you planning to sit down with all the CEOs,
No.
Mr. President? Why is that, sir?
Because my team's going to do that.
Okay. But you did that with retailers and logistics companies. And
Right. Again, he's obviously he's not there anymore. Obviously, he's not lucid anymore. But this is often what happens. You have those moments of candor. He's not supposed to say that. He just said in one breath that he made up something about his mother. My mother used to say, out of everything bad comes something good. Whenever he says, my mother used to say, her father used to say, he's just making that up. So he's just making it up. But he says, we have an opportunity to go to renewable. And then they're going to sit down with the oil companies, which they're trying to put out of business. But they view this as the opportunity to go with the Green New Deal. It's insane. It's unpopular. Nobody wants it, but they're not giving us a choice. And he's in the cobwebs of his brain, he comes out and says, this is a good opportunity. People are going, I just spent $100 to fill up my tank. I'm not going to buy a Tesla or a Prius. I can't. But he doesn't care. He thinks this is what, AOC wants, and Ed Markey and Liz Warren and Bernie, they all the radical lunatics want this. So he's going to force it on the country. And he's not going to sit down with oil executives, his team is, and find out why they're making money. God, I hate that when businesses make money and employ, millions and pay taxes. And it's just scary. Again, everything I'm talking about today is scary, but it's scary that this buffoon is at the controls for 2.5 more years with the goal of destroying fossil fuels, which is why we are living the lives we're leading right now, fossil fuels and capitalism. Those are the two reasons we have such a great quality of life in this country, in this much of this civilized world now, fossil fuels and capitalism. And he's determined to destroy them both. But hope please having a good vacation. I didn't see, did he get his chocolate chip? Did he get his ice cream after he must have. Your mother, when you were a little kid, didn't used to go for ice cream after you went to the beach? Or go to the ice cream man, get like a chocolate eclair at the ice cream man. He must be sitting there the whole time with Jill. Are we going to get ice cream? Honey, are we going to get ice cream? Oh, watch, another little girl. Let me go sniff. Let me go take a picture. All right, let's get to what else do I have to do? I'm going to get to Bill Maher and I'm going to get to the Live. But Shay, you want me to do Shay?
Shay,
let's do Shay, and then we're going to tell you the latest on the Live Golf, and we're going to play my man Bill Maher defending Jack Del Rio. Did you ever think you'd see the day? I love it. Breaking news this morning, if you haven't heard yet, it wasn't a real shocker. In fact, we talked about it yesterday. Brooks Koepka, 4-time major winner, 8-time winner on the PGA Tour, is jumping to the Live Golf Tour. He will be debuting next week in Portland, Oregon at the Pumpkin Ridge. It's going to be interesting. I'm sorry. I'm going to be watching.
I did call that one in his press conference. I said, he's going.
And you know what? It was a good call because he's the ultimate mercenary. He doesn't care about, the sentiment of it all. He's not a sentimental guy. He's a killer. That's why he's so good in the majors. He's a 4-time major winner, as I said, but he's struggling. He's struggling to make a living right now. He just got married, by the way, had a big dramatic, I don't know where it was, some exotic place to some supermodel. And I think, he likes winning majors, obviously, but he doesn't care. This is the place where Arnie was, or, this is where Ben Hogan hit his famous whatever, 1-iron. That stuff doesn't mean anything to him. He wants to make money, and he is going to make money. We don't have the number yet. I got a lot of details on this, but we don't have the number. It's believed to be 9 figures, up there around what Dustin Johnson got, which was $125 million. I'll tell you why Brooks Koepka is jumping. This year he finished 55th at the U.S. Open the other day, same as he finished at the PGA, 55th. He missed the cut at the Masters. In 15 starts this season, he has 2 top 10s. He was number 1 in the world 4 years ago. Now he's number 19 and falling fast. That's the guy. That's the kind of guy that this makes sense for. He's struggling to win. He's struggling to make money on the PGA Tour. He knows even in the majors he's struggling. So he knows maybe, his time where he could, win, his time is just pretty much over, even though he's only 32. So if they flash $100 million in front of him, are you going to tell me a guy like Brooks Koepka, who doesn't care about much, that guy is going to say, oh no, Jamal Khashoggi. I know what they did to Jamal. He could give a damn about that. Most of these guys could give a damn about it, but he doesn't care about the meaning of everything like Rory McIlroy does, or Tiger Woods does, for that matter. So he's gone, and we believe, we don't have this confirmed yet, we believe Colin Morikawa may be following. Just think of all the more guys go, the less heat there is on the guys. The less. Oh yeah. Obviously, all the heat was on Mickelson and then Dustin Johnson. All about, and Mickelson's foolishly talked about Jamal Khashoggi and all the things that, they chop hands off petty thieves in Saudi Arabia and they imprison homosexuals and everything else. But again, lots of people in this country do business with Saudi Arabia, including these golfers. And Morikawa that's a tough one for the PGA Tour. He is a young stud.
Yep.
He's one of those guys I'm going to guess who says, I'll take the money, I'll do it for 2 years, and I'll come back to the PGA Tour.
Yep. And right now, Greg Norman's working to get live tournaments to have them count towards world golf rankings, because that's the biggest issue. Because if they play those and they get points towards the world golf, they can still qualify for the majors. And as it stands right now, they can't.
But they're still eligible for 3 of the 4 majors. And again, if a guy like Morikawa's won 2 majors and he's made a lot of money, he's thinking, I'm young, I'm good. I do this for a couple of years. I make $100 million. I never have to fly commercial again. I can buy one of those yachts that the Russian oligarchs, they seize from the Russian oligarchs. They're going to sell those, Maybe he'll buy one of those. Maybe he just thinks, I sign, I'm done. Money is never, ever a thought. From that moment on, I'm set, I'm secure, so's my family, my mother, father, wife, kids, everything. I mean, that's everyone's goal, financial security forever. And I realized Colin Morikawa or Brooks Koepka was pretty well off financially. But, $100 million is $100 million. As Chris Berman used to say. Another interesting golf story this morning. Nick Faldo quits CBS. Nick Faldo, who's pretty good. He's sarcastic. He can be funny. He's like Tony Romo. You always wondered like what was in the coffee cup, because Nick Faldo could get a little jiggy. He quits to spend time with his kids and grandkids and his wife and take care of all his business interests and fish. I don't know if all that's true, but he's out and Trevor Immelman is going to replace him, which is boring. I mean, he's fine. But Trevor Immelman, they should have picked Brad Faxon. He would have been good at this. He's much, much funnier and more, wittier than Trevor Immelman. But Nick Faldo bails out on a pretty damn good gig. Golf analyst for CBS. He just said he was sick of traveling. But
yeah, maybe he'll be on the next live broadcast.
Oh, that's true. Hell, he could play.
I know, right?
He's only 64, and there's Bernard Longer's out there still winning it. He's older than that. It's a good point. That's a good point. Maybe he'll be the next live guy. They'll give him $100 million to broadcast. Hey, would you blame him?
I think he might be cognitively slipping. That spoiler of Rory's chipping at the Masters was egregious. That was bad. That was stupid.
Yeah, I do think he's a little sloppy, but I think he's good. And like Johnny Miller, you could tell they didn't really care. They were unafraid to make mistakes and say dumb things and say mean things about the players. But he's out. I believe he's out in August. But anyway, who's not out? Who's in? I got another guy who's probably older. I'm going to check because you often hear that old guys, they can't relate. You got to have a young guy relate to your audience. Bill Maher is an old guy who relates well to young people, which is good because Bill Maher has flipped. Yes, he's 66 years old. He has flipped. He is now non-woke. He is not woke. He's not what he used to be. He used to be big liberal, obviously hated Trump, still hates Trump, but he, I think, is genuinely concerned, upset at the cancel culture and talks about it every week. He had a great monologue last week about the Washington Post, about that crazy reporter, that Somnez, who went nuts when her coworker, Dave Weigel, retweeted a silly, harmless joke. And she ended up getting fired because she was airing the dirty at the Washington Post. It takes a lot to get fired for a woke woman to get fired. But he had a great monologue. I recommend it. He also defended Jack Del Rio, which is good. I mean, that's what you should do. If you're not defending Jack Del Rio, you're the bad guy. If you're the bad guy, you don't have to agree with him. You can disagree with everything he says, but you have to acknowledge that Jack Del Rio said, I want to have a dialogue. I want to have a conversation. I want to understand. Here's what I think. Tell me what you think. That got him fined $100,000. And, by the way, it got him muzzled. He'll never say anything again, at least not while he works for the Redskins and that dick, Ron Rivera. But, Bill Maher understands that this is a scary time, that, the First Amendment is not there to protect safe speech you agree with. It's there to protect the bad guy. It's there to protect Alex Jones. It's there to protect people and make them less afraid to have an opinion, to have a take. That right now, what the woke mob wants to do is intimidate everybody into either shutting up or agreeing to complying. And that, I think, genuinely pisses off and frustrates Bill Maher, as he makes clear virtually every Friday night. But he had a take on, how long is this? On Del Rio?
Minute and a half.
Good. A minute and a half. This is with his panel and, the hyenas in the crowd. And other thing I love about Maher, he gets annoyed at the crowd. That they're still wokesters, and they don't know what to laugh at and what to cheer because they're listening going, wow, did he really say that? They're used to being, these just total liberal crazies and agreeing with everything he says, and they don't know what to think anymore, which is another great thing. I'm telling you, I don't even have HBO, but they post all the clips on Saturday morning so you can watch it. But let's listen to my man Bill Maher on Jack Del Rio.
There was a football coach. His name is Jack Del Rio, okay? And he called the January 6th riot a dust-up. Now, this is a very common view that he has. I would like to, if I could talk to Mr. Del Rio, I think I could probably, hopefully convince him a little bit that it was more than a dust-up. He also compares it a lot to the 2020 protests that were going on after the George Floyd murder. Okay, I think I could also convince him there are really important differences between those two things, and actually the attack on the Capitol was worse. Nevertheless, he has a right to be wrong.
Yes.
In America, you have the right to be wrong.
Yeah.
They fined him, the team fined him $100,000 for this opinion. Finding people for an opinion. I am not down with that. And here's what the coach of the team said. This is his assistant coach. So his boss said about the guy who got fined, he does have the right to voice his opinion as a citizen of the United States, and it most certainly is his constitutional right to do so. Apparently not. You know what? This is the don't pee on my shoe and tell me it's raining. What the fuck are you talking about? He doesn't have a right to opinion, and it's obviously not his right to do so.
Yeah.
So either say you're against free speech, but don't tell me this.
No, it's
Yeah, that's obviously Del Rio was fined for saying dust up. If he said riot there, do you think he'd be fined? I don't. I think they were offended, genuinely pissed off. All the people on the left, all the Joe Scarboroughs and the rest, they were all upset that he used the wrong noun, that he was too glib. I think, obviously, we've talked about this a lot, that the George Floyd riots were worse. That is an objective truth. There were more injuries. There was more death. There was more looting, more arson, caused much division in this country. And they went on for months and months and months. The January 6th went on for 3 hours. George Floyd riots were much worse, but that's not the point. The point is that Maher makes is a good one. He says, I disagree with him, but he has a right to say it. You're going to find a guy $100,000 because he says something you disagree with. It's insanity. I can't tell you how much I'm going to enjoy the downfall of the Redskins. Hell, it's always fun. They got Daniel Snyder. Oh, by the way, before we go, I'm not sure who reported this, but Deshaun Watson's defense is going to involve the Redskins, the Commanders, and the Patriots. Because the owners of those two teams, according to Deshaun Watson's defense, they got away with something that Deshaun Watson is not going to get away with. Deshaun Watson is going to get suspended for a full season, it looks like. Maybe more. They're going to come down hard on him. There's just no defense for him. There's just too many women stepping forward and talking about what a freak he is. Well, there's a certain parallel with the owner of the Patriots. And again, I defended Kraft. He's a grown man, consenting adults. He's not married. He just got, the full treatment from his masseuse. And he got embarrassed for it. The Boston Globe did everything they could to get the video. They failed. I'm glad Kraft survived that. But he is going to be a central figure in Deshaun Watson's defense, which is going to get ugly. That's going to happen any minute now. Any minute now, the Deshaun Watson thing is going to explode. And if you're a Cleveland Brown fan, You gave up 3 first-round picks for this guy who now we know is a freak, now that we got a lot of the details, and is not going to be available to play for at least another year. That could go down as the worst trade. In the end, that may go down as the worst trade in sports history. I guess we have a long way to go, but it doesn't look good for Deshaun Watson. You know, a guy who likes, how do I say this? A guy who likes the massage therapist to, get really inside there. Go right inside there, you freak.
Does he not see the difference between him and Kraft? Kraft went to a place where they do that. He invites someone to come to like the facility, and he rolls on his back and he goes, "Touch me in between my balls and butthole."
Exactly. Consenting adults. The woman agreed to it. He paid her. They did it. It is weird. Like, it's perfectly fine to get rubbed everywhere, but except there. And when they rub there, they got to raid the place, seize the property, put people in jail. It just seems like a little, out of whack. And you're right. The whole point is there are victims in the Deshaun Watson case. Victims, women he did things to, he touched in ways they didn't want to be touched. There's no victim in the Kraft case. And even if there is, he did it once with one old woman. Deshaun Watson has 66 at least accusations against him. A little different, yes.
Someone should tell Deshaun Watson that he can, in fact, do it himself. He doesn't need.
What he could do? He could do if you had one or two women who did that for you, even if they did it every day, and you paid them well, and they agreed to it. He got off on making the women uncomfortable. That's the problem. That's the part that he's not going to be able to explain away. He got off on making them uncomfortable, kind of like Leah Thomas. How about that for tying it all together? Leah Thomas is like Deshaun Watson. They both like to make women uncomfortable. They enjoyed that, watching them get all nervous and uncomfortable. That's what he did. That's why he's going to be suspended. It's going to get a lot worse before it gets better for Deshaun Watson and for the Cleveland Browns. But we have to leave it there. I'm sorry I waited this long, but can you remind me again what your pronouns are, Ironhead?
I am he, him, actually.
Oh, you are he, him. Good. Because I just got nervous that I may have been misgendering you, and that would be awful. If you haven't seen the video yet, I recommend go watch the whole thing. It is the scariest damn thing you've ever seen. Well, it's not worse than Uvalde, put it that way. Nobody lost their lives, but what our Navy, what our military is doing should frighten us all. And there is this is just the stuff we've seen. Imagine the stuff behind the scenes. It's just friggin' depressing.
Just so you know, I just changed my pronouns again. I am now they, that. So
they, that?
Yep, it's always changing.
Oh, well, you got to be careful with that. You got to be careful. This is serious stuff. Pronouns, misgendering.
Ever again.
And no more hey guys. All right, no more hey guys. That's not inclusive enough. But anyway, I'm annoyed enough. I'm going to leave it there. That will do it for today. Thanks to everybody for watching and tweeting and texting at us. Everybody seems to be in agreement that the story about the U.S. Navy going woke is indeed disgusting, disturbing. Everyone's saying the same thing. Imagine your father, your grandfather, who served on a ship in the South Pacific in World War II. Imagine them sitting in that session. Imagine, again, Robert O'Neill and Jocko Willington sitting there and saying, well, we need a safe space. What?
Yeah. I think back then they got called certain pronouns, but it was an insult.
I always put everything to the grandfather test. What would Dad say? What would my grandfather say? He'd be disgusted with the direction of this country in so many ways. It's sad, but hey, 81 million people. This is what they voted for. Scary, scary stuff. But that will do it for today. Thanks, Ironhead, and thanks to everybody for listening. I'm Jerry Callahan. This is the Callahan